Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Siboga TV, which is the home of politics. And because of public demand, because many of you have actually asked me to talk about the sacred card that Matiang'I is actually using against his opponent. Because many of you, the way you have actually reached on me, is that you are wondering which kind of tactics that Matiang'I is actually using, which are making him to be very popular, even if you find that most of the political leaders are actually against him. Because if you look at the united opposition, you will find that Matiang'I is actually not in good term with Rigathi Gachagua. And that is why Rigathi Gachagua is trying to propose various kind of lineups. And in all those lineups that Rigathi Gachagua has tried to come up with, most of the lineups they actually die on arrival. And that is why many of you have requested me to talk about the sacred card that Matiang'I is actually using, and that is why he is getting popular as days are going by. And that is actually what I am going to do, because your demands must always be fulfilled in this YouTube channel. But before I dive in, so that I can dissect for you the sacred card that Matiang'I is using against his opponents in the united opposition, I will request you kindly to take a minute and you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video a like, share the video to your friends. And if your friends are lovers of politics, it's good to request them for us to subscribe to this YouTube channel, because this is the only YouTube channel where we do analysis in a free and a fair way. And for those ones who have actually subscribed to this YouTube channel and they always keep coming to watch our videos, I say thank you, because you are a big inspiration. And that is why we always come up with this kind of political analysis. And whenever you subscribe to this YouTube channel, always make sure to hit the notification bell, because once you hit the notification bell, it means that YouTube actually will always notify you to watch any political content that we upload into YouTube. And now, let me go back to the discussion. The sacred card that Matiang'I is actually using against his opponents in the united opposition. One of the sacred card that Matiang'I is actually using is that he is a strategist. Matiang'I is very smart. He knows when to strike. He knows when to speak. He knows when to be silent. And that has actually put him to be the best among other political leaders within the Kenya Kwanza, the united opposition fraternity. That means he's a very good strategist. Because if you look the way he has come up in the political arena, it is quite strategic. Because Matiang'I, as you remember, before we went to 2022 presidential election, he had a party which is called UPA, and which is being led by the Nyamira governor. But when he knew that he was going to go for the presidency of this nation, as a strategist, he knew if he was to pick that political party and actually use it to stop at the presidency, it was going to make him to be seen as a very small person, as a person who is tribal in nature, as a person who has a village political party. And because Fred Okengo Matiang'I never wanted to be seen from such a kind of picture, he wanted to be seen as a Kenyan, and a Kenyan who has come to make sure that he takes Kenya as a whole forward. And that is why he moved. And so I have to use Jubilee as a political party. Because many of you who know Jubilee, it has read in this nation for 2 consecutive terms during Uhuru Ruto era. And that means it's one of the biggest political parties in this nation. Because if you remember, we have UDA, we have ODM, and I'm very sure we have Jubilee, which is another biggest political party, and which is actually being funded by the government. So instead, Fred Okengo Matiang'I going to get a party which is actually not funded by the government, he went in for a party which is being funded by the government. At the same time, he knew that this Jubilee party has a network across the Republic of Kenya. So the strategy is, let me use a bigger party, a party which actually will make me to have a national outlook, and a party which it will be very easy for me to popularize it. Because now, because Jubilee has branches across this republic, the only thing that Fred Okengo Matiang'I is doing now is actually fine-tuning the party, and the party within a short time, you will find that it is going to be very strong across the Republic of Kenya. And that is why even present, you cannot compare DCP and Jubilee, because you will find still Jubilee as members of parliament or as elected members. But if you look at DCP, you will find DCP is actually a small party. It's associated with the people of the mountain. And if also you look at the Wiper, it is associated with the people from Ukambani. But if you ask people about Jubilee, they will tell you Jubilee is a big party. And Jubilee actually serves the entire nation. The same way we can say ODM is serving the entire nation, or UDA is serving in the entire nation. So that is the rig that Fred Okengo Matiang'I wanted to be. And he never wanted to take that advice from Rigathi Gachagua, because the advice which Rigathi Gachagua was telling Fred Okengo Matiang'I is that go to your home base, have a party, popularize that party, then come and join us. But Fred Okengo Matiang'I has said he cannot do that. And that is why he has come up with Jubilee as his political party, which he will use to go for presidency late come 2027. So Fred Okengo Matiang'I has a strategy. And that is why he's using that strategy to make himself to be the best from the side of the united opposition. And as you know, many people have been saying Rigathi Gachagua is not actually what we call a politician. But for me, the way I see the strategies that Fred Okengo Matiang'I is employing, they are very tactical, and actually they are schemed in a way that you can tell that Rigathi Gachagua has learned politics very, very well. And he is even better than other political leaders, because you can see the way he's coming up is more strategic than other political leaders. And because of the strategy, he has given himself a national outlook, not a village outlook. That is why he is outsmarting other leaders. The second thing is actually because Rigathi Gachagua has aligned himself with resources. He has enough resources. Actually, to make his campaign to go on smoothly, because he has aligned himself with people who have resources, people who can fund the party, and already the party is also being funded by the government. So that strategy is also working very well for Fred Okengo Matiang'I, and therefore he is not struggling so much for him to fund what we call rallies across this nation, because already the way he has aligned himself is with men who have money. He is with men who can actually fund his entire presidential campaign, and also the party is actually being funded by the government. So the party is actually rich. That is another strategy that Rigathi Gachagua has used, and it is making things to work out for him. So that is the second card that Rigathi Gachagua is having against his opponent, the likes of Rigathi Gachagua, the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka, the likes of Eugene. Another strategy that Fred Okengo Matiang'I is actually using is about the population is trying to engage. Remember, Fred Okengo Matiang'I is engaging young people, vibrant population. And because he's engaging a young, vibrant population, that population is actually enabling Fred Okengo Matiang'I in campaigning. Because as you know, the people who are young, they can actually help you to have a very smooth campaign, because they are young, they are energetic, and they have different ways of campaigning for you. That means they will rebrand your campaign. They will rebrand your party. And that is why, because of the young population that Fred Okengo Matiang'I is working with, that is why you will find most of the Gen Zs have aligned themselves towards Fred Okengo Matiang'I. So that's another card that Fred Okengo Matiang'I is actually using to defeat his opponents within the united opposition. That is the third card that is using. And also, the fourth and the last card is the track record. If you look at Fred Okengo Matiang'I, he has a name, he has a track record. People know what he has done. People know his strength, because people have understood and they know that Fred Okengo Matiang'I is a doer. He's not somebody who speaks for the sake of speaking, because they have seen what he has done in various ministries which he was recently serving. And that means, because he has that card of track record, that actually makes him to be seen as the best candidate who opposition can front. And because of all those things, that is why Rigathi Gachagua is actually becoming popular day in, day out. And people have said that this round, even they don't want a politician, but they want a doer. They want a person who can transform this nation. They want a reformist, a person who can take this country forward. So Fred Okengo Matiang'I has tried to play his cards very well against other political leaders within the united opposition. And recently you heard William Samoei Ruto saying that the only opponent who he could have feared is the departed Raila Amolo Odinga. But now, since Raila Amolo Odinga is around, that there is nobody in the united opposition who will take him down. But I am cautioning His Excellency the President that this man called Fred Okengo Matiang'I is actually going to make him to run for his money, is going to make him to sweat. And if he doesn't become very careful, This man called Fred Okengo Matiang'I is going to send William Samoei Arap Ruto to Sogoi direct. And therefore, let William Samoei Arap Ruto know that this man called Fred Okengo Matiang'I, he has a strategy to use against him. And if things will go well with the united opposition and they give him the ticket of presidency so that he can be the candidate against William Samoei Arap Ruto, then I'm very sure William Samoei Arap Ruto will be sent directly to Sogoi. I really don't know what's your take about the strategy that Fred Okengo Matiang'I is actually using against his opponent. Please drop that in the message section below. And if this is your first time to come into this YouTube channel, I request you kindly to take a minute and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video a like, share the video to your friends. And if your friends are lovers of politics, then it's good to request them for us to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And with that, I say thank you. May God bless you all abundantly until we meet in our next political conversation. Goodbye.